I will say that I am more than understanding of people who would like to seize opportunities. I am more of a person who believes in you taking advantage of your opportunities in order to gain some type of momentum for success in life. Today on today's show, we're gonna have three lovely black ladies interview Mr. Donald Trump. This interview was over a year ago, and I think that a lot of black individuals, first of all, with all the rhetoric that goes on in media, tend to forget all of what Donald Trump has done for Black America. Besides, they always go to the thing that happened in the park with I forgot what you call it, but the guys that were convicted at a young age for doing things to a female in one of New York's parks. And we tend to forget all the other things that he's done when it comes to Black America. First of all, Donald Trump was seen as a person that you can go get for loans in terms of Black America, because while all the other branches of society didn't want you to receive loans, it was said that you can go get a loan go to Trump to go get your loans. And not only when you got your loan and your business started to thrive, he would tell you, oh, don't worry about it. Go ahead and run your business, keep the money, and go ahead and be successful. Secondly, I don't believe that you understand that before Melania and before I think probably his last wife, he was dating a black model. Thirdly, we tend to miss out on that this is our home, Black America. Like, unlike anyone else, we don't have another country to go to. Your statehood is with the United States of America. And because of that, because you don't have nowhere else to go, unlike other, nationalities who can go to Haiti, to Venezuela, to Cuba, to Colombia, back to Europe, you cannot necessarily go back to Africa because you don't know from which country in Africa you actually come from. So this is the reason why you have citizenship. This is the reason why you have the 14th Amendment to give you statehood within the United States. So this is your home for all you who don't understand what foundational Black America is. So we're going to go over here to this interview with these news anchors. I believe it's the National Association of Black Journalists. They're interviewing Mr. Donald Trump on a panel when in regards to his treatment of Black America.
Annual National Association of Black Journalists Convention and Career Fair. We are about to begin a conversation with former President Donald Trump. We ask that the professionalism that we all bring to our newsrooms and workplaces every day is the same professionalism that is maintained in this arena. Please welcome to the stage ABC News Senior Congressional Correspondent Rachel Scott. Semaphore political reporter Kadia Goba. And anchor of the Faulkner Focus and co-host of Outnumbered on Fox News, Harris Faulkner.
NABJ. Mic's on? Hear me? There we go. Test, test, test. Good afternoon, NABJ, and welcome to a conversation with former President Donald Trump. This discussion continues a decades-long tradition during election years of inviting journalists to discuss the policies and their impact with the candidates who are running for president and the impact of those policies, especially in Black communities. Former Presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton have attended the NABJ conventions either as presidents or as presidential candidates in past years. NABJ is currently in conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris's team to schedule a Q&A either in person or virtually in September. As journalists, we use opportunities like these both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand the choices that they face in a consequential and historic election year. NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact-check this conversation in real time. You can access that feed on social media using the hashtag NABJFactCheck. Again, the hashtag is NABJFactCheck. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time, so let's bring out the former President of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump.
Ain't it funny how for an individual that you suspect that hate black people so much, you bring him out to a hip hop vibe-ish song. You let him walk out to something that is, on a scale of, not his really thing. How would you think Donald Trump? Was he supposed to walk out bobbing his head like for real?
Thank you. Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was
Mr. President,
wrong.
I would love
think
you
it's
to...
I mean, damn. I mean, he ain't going off on her. He being more than respectful about the situation, because that was obviously kind of rude with regards to the way she came out and just attacked them. So obviously she's trying to gain points from this whole situation, right? Secondly, everything that he said that he's done with regards to Black America is most definitely true. The HBCU system was going under, so much so that it had to diversify diversify its student base to being someone more than just primarily Black or African American. That's first of all. Opportunity zones is probably one of the best policies, man, that you can do for Black America in terms of business, just based on the fact that you have. This is the reason why you have disadvantaged businesses in the whole United States, and you get certified for that, and you'll have opportunities to get government contracts. And who doesn't want a government contract? Thirdly, man, she just being rude. I think that she just was trying to come off and get some points. He's very much respectful. He says that he loves Black America, and he honestly states that, I have more than enough respect for you to sit here and wait an extra 35 minutes to come talk to you, and you come out and you swing on me like this. That's how you feel? Well, let me give it right back to you. Let her finish.
Answer the
Very
question about
nasty
your
question.
rhetoric and
Wow.
why you
I
believe
have
that
answered the
Black voters should
question.
trust you with another
I
4
have
years.
been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President
That's
Johnson,
my
who
answer.
signed the Voting Rights
And
Act.
for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace. I really do.
Let
I
me
think
just
it's
ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define it?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
Give me a
literally the
definition
words
then. Would you give me a definition of
DEI.
that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is
Those are terms. Those are not definitions. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those were terms, not definitions. She couldn't give him an answer. If she would have defined it for him, then maybe she would have gotten an answer. But
only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a Black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
Black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think,
that
I think
she is
somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I
Republicans
really
have
don't
said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length, and we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that
Well, you
interview.
told
he's like, man, can we get on to the next interviewer? Because apparently, if you don't, and I'm gonna have to walk off this stage, bro.
me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are Black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President,
they're
can I-
taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the black.
See, this is something that I had been just worried about. If people recognizing, if they recognizing this all the way in the executive branch of government, then how the hell these Democratic Party members aren't recognizing the same thing? Like, the black population is being devastated by all this immigration that's coming into your neighborhoods, and it's not to say that it's a bad thing, right? But it is to say that, like he said, it feels like an invasion to where we are seeing everybody else get the opportunities that our people fought so hard for. You know what I'm saying? With all the economic success that is going on with all other communities, why is the black population in their own communities not being able to thrive like they should? Now, one thing that I can say, what Donald Trump does, he loves the black community. One thing that I can say about Donald Trump, he does not support the black community's violence. If you could just work on the violence that is in the black community, that's the only thing that he don't respect. So all these raids that's going on, besides the immigration raids, how he's going in and wanting to fix states, beyond that of the immigration problem, you know, it's a lot of black people that is getting locked up with regards to that because, you know, we have developed a culture to where we are more against each other for some aspects of our society or of our culture, to where we're more against each other than we are with each other. It's so hard to get us to work together for the productivity of ourselves, like what has happened in what was happening with regards to the civil rights movement, to see us come together like that. If it's not coming together to protest against the police, and things like that nature. But other than that, we should be able to work together, just like I like these individuals, these beautiful, I don't want to call them young ladies, but these beautiful black females that's on this panel right now, that's coming to interview Trump, even though one of them is trying to gain points and be hostile with regards to the interview process. Still, for you to even be in that position and all come together and be associated with the organization, so that he feels compelled to come on to talk to you with regards about his love for Black America, because everything that he's saying that he did for Black America, he has done. And not only that, what about the things that you don't know about?
Population is affected most by that, and Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never even essentially been. She said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border czar. She's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country, and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs, and frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being very badly affected by all of.
Recognize, he's saying our country. He didn't say what the white man's country. He's saying our country. This regards the 14th Amendment, where when I tell you that this is your statehood and this is the country in which you belong to, because you didn't have no other state to go to, such as a country in Africa, for you to go to after slavery, because you didn't know from which you have came after being in bondage for so long. So this is our country that we have to take care of. And this is why say with regards to this issue that this is once again a time for that the white people of this nation are calling upon the black people's help with regards to not only as a fighting force, forget the fighting force part, but in order to get us to realize the idea that we have got to get into the mechanisms that we treat this nation as it's our own. Forget the violence, forget all this other stuff that's going on. Let's get into the mechanism of which our lineage comes from and being about the status of merit, because before the welfare system came into this nation and the black folks started to get involved in it, we were thriving better than white America. We were thriving better than white America, so much so that they wanted to integrate us when it was being called just, we were just fighting for civil rights. They wanted to actually integrate us. That's how good we were doing. It was only until the participation in the welfare system where we started to see Black America, particularly, go into a steady decline. And it's only getting worse if we continue to allow immigration to come across this country and take what our ancestors fought for and receive that. Listen, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I do believe in what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? We as a people can't allow the Democratic Party to fool you to the point to where they used you for all these years as a voter base. Now they don't care about you, and here you are being just looked over. So much so that they feel like they don't even have to fight for you no more. They steadily trying to get us out here to vote for them. You got dummies like Karen Bass, she just knows she's on the wrong side of the aisle with regards to this whole issue. But because she's a Democrat and has run her whole life as a Democrat, she just has to keep on fighting. But I just see it in her aura that she knows that she's on the wrong side of this issue, but she's going to keep on fighting because, this is the issue that she's considered. And notice something about this whole conversation, right? How he speaks to you with rationale. He's speaking to you with rationale while members of the Democratic Party consistently try to hit your emotional tone to get you to vote emotionally without you thinking about what is best for you as Black America.
The millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, they're prisoners. They're
Listen as he speaks when he says our country.
other countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate is going down, and our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President?
Look, he's telling you what they're doing. He's telling you exactly what these other countries are doing. Right? They're bringing in all this other stuff, but it's mainly affecting you. But you just got to see it. I didn't believe that individuals actually saw. You see this every day in your neighborhoods, but you fail to listen about what he's saying because honestly, when you come and you listen to the Democratic Party, this is not happening. This is not happening. When you listen to the Democratic Party, immigration is the best thing for you as a Black American. LGBT is the best thing for you as a Black American. DEI is the best thing for you as a Black American. Social programs is the best thing for you as a Black American. Man, your folks didn't need no social programs for them to want to integrate you. Secondly, I don't know when the hell LGBTQ became acceptable. The only, let me tell you something. When it comes to LA, the more west, the more towards Hollywood you see, that's where you're going to see the most LGBTQ community activities. And I'm talking about this in regards to the black culture. Whatever else with other cultures, right? That's where you're going to see that happen. But when it comes to hood stuff, when it comes to the stuff that you see surrounding these gangs and stuff like that, and you know these gangs don't want to have that bad reputation on their jacket for being involved, man, you ain't seeing a whole lot of gay dudes walking around, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't see a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and also, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to just like this is this us, we've been involved in this stuff for so long, and we've, you know, haven't felt like we've been heard when you got individuals who's saying that I'm hearing and I'm seeing all your pains and stuff of what's going on in your community, and you just fail to recognize and you fail to want to listen. It's not about being a supporter. It's about, what's right. Not allowing other people to come in and replace you in your own land. And that was particularly, it seems like the Democratic Party wants to do.
I want to get into how you address some of the issues with Black communities. And I say that plural because we live in communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
True.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts. And this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single Black moms, when you look statistically. Yeah. How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the Black community when it comes to money?
So, first of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had, in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people, young Black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation.
So how many of you out there can actually say that your parents were able to buy a home at a younger age than you are able to now? And I'm speaking, white America, but Black America also. Because if you don't realize that the immigrant population has taken over about 70% of the first-time homebuyers program, they took an advantage of it. That is all going to the immigrant population, whether illegal, undocumented, or documented. And secondly, I want to bring up, he handled the question very well after such rudeness from the sister that's in the blue. It just, the change of the dynamics from the questioning, like I said, it's sad that she got off wrong, and instead of coming off like he's coming off right now, with regards to the issue. I'm glad that he's built a relationship already with the lady in the pink. Forgot her name, but she's on Fox. To have a rapport of understanding that we could sit there and we could speak without attacking each other. Because honestly, I swear I feel like he's here to let the black people know what's up, instead of giving you, hyperbole that the Democratic Party will be giving you with regards to this issue, to have you just vote on the basis of how they want you to vote. He's trying to tell you, this is what's good for you. Not only this is what's good for you, this is good for us because this is our country.
Is a disaster, and it's destroying our country, and it's destroying the black community probably as much
So
or
what do
more
you do?
than any.
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might, I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls. And then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying, let's keep going and maybe something happens the other way, they said, oh, we're going to replace him. Let's just replace him. That's like you're in a fight, a prize fighter's in a fight. He's not doing well. You say, let's bring in another fighter. So our whole campaign was steered toward him. And now we have to steer it to her. But ultimately, it's the same because they have bad policy. They have policies of open borders, unbelievable open borders, horrible energy policies. They want to get rid of, as you say, gasoline in cars. They want to get rid of oil. They want to get rid of efficient heating.
Mr. President.
Environmentally, what they're doing is killing our country. They're absolutely destroying our country. But the inflation is the thing that's hurting the black worker, the black population, and every other population within our country.
So he's going and giving you details with regards to what the Democratic Party is doing. So when you think about the Civil War and how they were pretty much, the Democratic Party was pretty much run by, or the Confederate Army was pretty much the majority a Democratic organization, right? The Confederate Party was pretty much Democrat, basically. So once again, when you hear these individuals like Waltz talking about there's going to be another civil war with regards to this issue, believe that they are trying to strike that up and bring that about, because they are antagonizing and pushing this whole issue on just so they can get their way with regards in this country, not caring about country, not caring if this country is looking different than what it was just 10 years ago. 10 years ago, this place was, particularly in Los Angeles, and I can't believe you believe from wherever you come from, if you're not from Los Angeles, when you look at other places. And this is not to be racist, this is not to be nothing, but this is my home, bruh. This is my home. I don't have nowhere else to go, so forget all that. You know what I'm saying? You can go back home and you can live however you want to live, and this would be respectful on that. But at the same time, like I said, I don't have no other where to go. I have to protect my home. I wouldn't let nobody come knock on my house door, just think that they about to come in my house doing whatever they want to do. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't need to tell you.
Inflation is the worst it's been, I think, in over 100 years. And they'll fact check it. They'll say it's only 58. Whatever it may be, they don't add all the numbers. They don't add the really bad numbers, and you can check that too. But inflation, Harris, is absolutely destroying this country and the people in our country. Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
President, can I ask you another question
Yes,
that is
and-
also impacting Black Americans?
And that's very clear now. Good.
And not only that, inflation is hitting this country so bad after Biden that it's insane for him to want to allow an open border policy when everything has doubled, and it just made the economy that much more worse. Like you made the economy that much more worse by allowing an open border policy while at the same time things was doubling. So you allowed a whole lot of people over here that was going to need the services of the United States to become stable. And then at the same time, you need this. So that's taking tax dollars. You need that. And you allowing these individuals to have the jobs of American citizens. And on top of that, they need the services. They taking jobs, and on top of that, things are doubling. So, what part of this was supposed to work out with the open border policy? I don't get it.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay, so Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person
Okay,
either.
okay.
But again, why would,
Are they going to be charging the officer? I guess they're charging the officer.
so why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those
Well, right now,
distinctions?
for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime, or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine
You
an
go
innocent
after
mistake?
somebody and it's a very close call and it's very dangerous. And they have, the policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing because sometimes you have less than a second to make a life and death decision, and sometimes very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly. I find it interesting because you do talk about reining in prosecutors, especially when it comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of two people that have weaponized our justice system. I've been prosecuted. I just won the big case in Florida. Everyone said that was the biggest case. That was the most difficult case. And I just won it. Now, Biden has a similar case, except much worse. I was protected.
I want you to remember this. I want you to remember this real clear, because it's important that you have got to realize that Trump has been treated by the Democrats like black people has been getting treated all this time in this country when it comes to the abuse of charges, the abuse of the criminal justice system. And man, like, just watch the contrast in terms of how he was treated. Now, remember that Donald Trump is a felon in office. He's not even supposed to be in office. So if you as a black man who, if you as a black man didn't have hope just looking at this man, in terms of being a felon in office, he's experienced, he's been the most person who has experienced what the black community has gone through in terms of the system than any other president. I don't know no other president who's been charged like him, convicted like him, and still had the audacity, still had the to keep on going, moving ahead, going forward, and you know, to get his name back, to secure his legacy. After they completely try to destroy this man, he has had more of the black experience in this country in terms of that than any other president. He resembles the black experience more than anybody else.
Under the Presidential Records Act, Biden wasn't, because he wasn't president at the time, and he had 50 years worth of documents, and they ruled that he was incompetent, and therefore he shouldn't stand trial. And I said, isn't that something? He's incompetent and he can't stand trial, and yet he can be president. Isn't that nice?
Mr. President,
but they released him on the basis that he was incompetent. They said he had no memory, and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory, and therefore we're not going to prosecute him. I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We covered you extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to
I
different
didn't
topics
notice you
now.
do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where
Sir,
I
if
have
you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile
love
judge.
to. We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse
if
you.
we
You're the
can.
one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
If we can move on now to the state of the race, sir, I want to get back to the.
So yeah, before she answered the question, yeah, they let Biden completely go. It's like they let Biden completely go with regards to the charges that was going to be pressed against him after they discharged Donald Trump with the charges that he had against him, found him, convicted him, and you know, a lot of things has come out about how all that stuff was pretty much manipulated, and I think he's still going through a court process right now on some type of appeal to get those convictions overturned. He didn't get sentenced because he became president, and it was just in the nick of time, but they was definitely trying to ensure that he would never run for office again. And I think it all stemmed from when he told Hillary Clinton, if I were president, you will be in jail.
Campaign. Senator J.D. Vance is your running mate. He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable too. He's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children. Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate? And do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family oriented, and he thinks family is a great thing. That doesn't mean he thinks that if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with no families. They didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking about families here.
And
He also
some of
says that
those
people that don't have children should get less votes than
That's
those
all
that
right.
do.
I'm just speaking for myself.
that your
And I
campaign
think I'm
position?
speaking for him too. He strongly believes in family, but I know people with great families. I know people with not great families that don't have a family. And the people without the family are far better. They're superior in many cases, okay? He's not saying they're not. What he's saying is that he thinks the family experience is a very important thing. It's a very good thing. But that doesn't mean that if you grow up and you grow older and you don't meet somebody that would be wonderful to meet and would have been good, that that's a bad thing. He's not saying that. My interpretation, you'll have to ask him actually, but my interpretation is he's strongly family oriented, but that doesn't mean if you don't have a family, there's something wrong with it.
Just
Mr.
one last
President?
point, and then we'll move on. Just one of the bedrock principles of American life is one person, one vote. Senator J.D. Vance has suggested that someone who has children should have more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something I have ever heard before. I can tell you this. Right now, you have illegal aliens coming into our country, many from prisons and many from mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally,
People
and
who
they're
are only
taking the
American
vote away
citizens
from
are
all
allowed
of the
to vote,
people in
sir.
this room that have been here a long time, that have worked hard, that in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happening. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening a long time. You're going to see the people in this room and people outside of this room are going to be losing their jobs, the people that have come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of the race right now? Because I felt like that vice president question, candidate question was right in there with that. So let's talk about J.D. Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of weeks for him. Why did you choose J.D. Vance? Why did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing too.
I
I
chose
know
him
everybody
because-
out there can, but it's
I'll
hard to
tell you
hear.
why. I chose him because he's a very strong believer in work and the working man and woman, and especially the working man and woman who have been treated very unfairly, because you have many of them in this room. But you have many of those people, they were treated very unfairly. They worked very hard and they were treated unfairly. He wrote the book that became a bestseller. The movie became a smash hit. He's a very smart guy without the benefit of having a family that has contacts, like a father that was well connected. He got into Yale Law School. He graduated in 2 years from Ohio State, summa cum laude. I mean, you take a look at, his career has been an amazing career. He started off at a level with a difficult family situation, very difficult with the mother and the father and everything else. He ends up going to Yale Law School and was one of the top students, became the head of the law journal. I mean, that's an amazing thing. He's a 4-year, he was in the military with great distinction for 4 years, got out, went into business, became successful in business, very successful in business, actually. Did public offerings and other things. And I have to believe in that. I mean, he's somebody that was born in a rough situation. Most of the people know that situation because it was very well documented in his book. And I have a lot of respect for somebody that can get into Yale and become one of the best students in Yale, that meets a young woman at Yale who was also outstanding, and they get married, they have a beautiful family. But he had he's made himself an amazing life. He then goes to Ohio, lives in Ohio, and he had my endorsement. That helped. But he wins the Senate. He becomes a United States Senator. So he's a United States Senator. And so, Harris, like I respect you for your success, I respect people.
You see that? And before the Democratic Party got us with all this rhetoric with regards to you deserve better. You deserve better. They always hit you with we deserve to treat them better than what we are treating them. And they put you on welfare when, hold up, before that, you were able to accomplish a lot more just based on the fact that you felt like you had to prove yourself. The Black community all that time was doing a great job without that needed help. Listen, I'm gonna stop it right there because this is a lot to take in at the moment. This video is probably like an hour long, 45 minutes or so, and I know I've been here about 50 minutes already, but this is not about supporting Trump. This is about you being in this country, recognizing that this is your land and you have to defend it. You have to defend it. You have to stand up and to defend it. You got to stop the violent activity, and you got to recognize that the only way that you are going to become a slave again under the 13th Amendment is if, and that's being on the Democratic side, is if you go to prison, you be convicted, and you be duly convicted of a crime. You got to remember the 13th Amendment side of incarceration and slavery, that you should not be under any involuntary servitude, unless you are duly convicted of a crime, is the Democratic side of the spectrum of the clause of the two clauses of the 13th Amendment. And the first clause, neither involuntary servitude shall be in the United States, basically. That's the Republican side. So the Democratic Party is always trying to find a way to enslave you, to trap you into their ideologies. And so this is why the only stem that they have to do this with is to consistently attack you through empathetic means. While the Republican Party, they sit down there and they try to talk to you. At no time did he really, during this interview, did he go cross-sided when it comes to the attacks that's necessarily that was being presented to him with the first interviewer. He sit there and he tried to talk to this individual with some rationale, because this is what the grounds of the Republican Party stands on. This is what they've always stands on. The reason why you ain't being sent back to Africa is because the Republicans realized that they can't send you back. This is your home. Take care of it. Tiny Cross-H.U.G on the Trumped Up Live show. It's a good day to be a soldier.